I've always wanted to be a mom. Thinking back on it, it's all I ever wanted out of life, really. Not to say that I was one of those little girls who constantly carried around a baby doll or dressed her cat up in doll clothes. It's the idea of the thing that two people can have so much love for each other that they can't contain it, and it spills out into another little life. A perfect composition and representation of both mom and dad. That to me, even at a young age, was a beautiful and miraculous thing. Somehow, by luck, good planning, or just plain old fate, I'm able to be the exception to the modern rule. I meet a man who wants all of the same things out of life that I do, fall deeply in love, and we become happily married. My husband Dan and I try for years to have children. There are a few heartbreaking periods of buying baby clothes that never get used due to early pregnancies that don't pan out. However, in 3 years' time, I'm a good ways pregnant with a baby. A boy! They can tell he's a character even from the sonograms. His little mouth always moving. This one's gonna be a talker, the tech once told us. He kicked the wand in response. My little man. We are happy and thankful. All is right in our little world. Nolan is born without problem, a whole 8 pounds and 7 ounces, screaming for his mother. Okay, so he has a tongue tie that made his cries produce ma sounds, but still, I know he knows what he's saying. He loves me, and I love him instantaneously. His first years are so much fun. First steps, words, and there never seemed to be an end to those, as predicted. His endless Hot Wheel car collection, figuring out favorite foods and colors together. He likes orange best. Everything was what I've wanted out of parenthood, the good and the tired. And I do get very tired, as all new parents do. Sleep be damned, though, once I see those eyes. And besides, Dan works real hard so that I can stay home with our little one. I love every second that I get to have with him, and if need be, I can nap when he naps. We are so fulfilled that in 4 years' time, we find ourselves having another baby boy. I just know that Nolan will be a good big brother. He will have a little friend forever. Of course, I'm right, too. I know my boy. He is a wonderful brother. We constantly have to tell him to stop peeking and leaning over the crib so the baby can sleep. He loves to make faces at him to make him laugh. I just want to see him, Mama. He's so cute. The cutest I've ever seen. 2 boys is wonderful. But I can't believe how much time gets taken away from Nolan. My Nolan, the firstborn, the carbon copy of my good traits with the attitude to match. I can tell even though he was 4, he notices it. He takes it in stride though, never gets angry or frustrated with his brother for being an attention sponge. It's important to still spend quality independent time with your children. They always need you. So, I decide to amp up our alone time, go out on Nolan and Mama trips, and leave the baby with Daddy. Dan is a terrific father, the best I've seen in all my life, apart from my grandfather. I know any and all time spent between the baby and his dad will only be beneficial to both parties. And of course, then I'll get Nolan time. It's this thought process that leads us to the flea market one Saturday morning. Nolan's favorite place. He loves going places with me. He will always make me get fresh pork rinds, even though we both know they are too spicy for him. He'll lick the dust off and then hold the piece out in pinched fingers as if it's a dirty banana peel. Too spicy, Mom, I don't like it, he says every time. The regular pork rind exchange is taking place while we pass by a new stall. It's full of little figurines and Pokemon. There are rows upon rows of Star Wars Lego men. Any person you can think of, they have a character for. His eyes light up at seeing a Darth Vader character, and he reaches for it, knocking over a B-Wing fighter Lego ship. It breaks into pieces as soon as it hits the concrete floor. The stall owner is deep in a conversation with the customer, but shoots me a death glare that compels me to instantly bend down to pick up the pieces of the mess my little guy made. People are serious about their Star Wars. I pick up the last few pieces and put them on the table. I mouth a "so sorry" to the owner and gesture that I've put all the pieces on a pile to the left of the table. I then have a thought. Nolan is starting school in the fall, and this will be a good example of how to use good manners and take responsibility for his actions with an apology. Kids will be kids, of course, but I think the gesture of a child's apology would soften the man a little. I turn to grab his hand to bring him to the owner, but he isn't there. Frantically, my eyes dart back and forth over the rows of stalls. I check the neighboring stall, calling his name. I'm not at full panic yet, but I'm getting there quickly. My eyes sting as tears threaten to invade. My throat dry, and with a golf ball-sized lump in it. Where is Nolan? He was right here a second ago. What could have happened in the 2 minutes I was picking up pieces to where I can't see him anywhere near? Did someone take my little boy? My mind is racing, and I want to yell his name at the top of my lungs. People will look. Sure, that's great. That means more attention and help finding him. I draw a breath in to scream, and I see 2 little Velcro shoes under the wall of a stall running by. They look just like Nolan's. I turn the corner and cannot tell you the amount of relief I feel when I see my Nolan. He runs up to me almost breathless, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Mommy, there's a cute doggy over here. Come look, I got to pet it. This is new. I was always Mama before, never Mommy. My little guy's getting older, I guess, I think sadly. He wriggles and bounces with glee. I take his hand and follow him, all the while telling him how scared he made me and how he shouldn't ever run off like that. How the nice thing to do would have been to help me pick up the pieces instead of giving Mama a heart attack. He suddenly comes to a stop and gets a confused look on his cute little face. He's not here anymore, Mama. Maybe the dog runned away. I giggle. I secretly love it when he still says words wrong. I'm so happy that he was okay. I would have got him a puppy myself right then and there if there was a pet stall. Luckily for my husband, there isn't, and I don't. I don't think a surprise new puppy will go over real well with the new baby and all. Dan eventually would have understood, though. Dan's a very understanding person. We arrive home safely. I get him settled and changed for dinner. I'm emptying noodles into the boiling water when he runs into the kitchen. Mommy, I'm so hungry. I need dinner. What's that? I tell him it's his favorite, macaroni and cheese. He turns his perfect nose up and says, No. What are you cooking for you and Daddy? He knows that I always make 2 different meals a night, one for him and one for Dan and myself. Nola normally hates any meat that isn't in nugget form. Chicken fried steak, now back up, I don't want you to get splattered. I tell him gently but sternly to let him know I mean business. He sniffs the air heavily before doing what I ask him to do. Mommy, that smells good. I want the chicken, he says with big eyes still on the stovetop. Again, giggling, I say, Honey bun, that's beef, not chicken. It's just fried like chicken is. And I don't know, you hate meat. Every time you say you want to try something that contains meat, it ends badly. I give Dan a, what do you want me to do here look. He smiles and fixes him a plate of the steak, cut up into tiny, Nolan-approved size pieces. I hold my breath, waiting for him to finish the first bite. He loves it. The plate was empty in a flash, and he is immediately at the stove to see how much is left. Mommy, that was so good, but I'm still hungry. So hungry. I place down a plate of strawberries with a cheese stick for him to eat, for my big, growing boy. To my dismay, he sniffs at the plate and turns his nose up in disgust. Yuck, this is gross. I don't want it. I'm hungry. He's starting to whine and the tips of his ears are starting to turn red, a sure sign that he's about to start a crying tantrum. I want more chicken! The baby starts wailing in his room, and Dan is leaving for work, so I take my piece and cut it up for him. He's acting strange. Maybe he's getting sick? There were a lot of people with a lot of different things going on in their bodies at that flea market today. I really hope he didn't pick up a bug today. Better now than when school starts, I guess, though, I think. I hope this newfound love of meat is here to stay, though. It'll be so much easier having him eat what we eat instead of all the extra meals. Meat is good for you. It makes the body strong. He comes from a long line of meat and potato men. Hopefully, this is the start of new eating habits. That night, Nolan turns off his bedtime TV show, abandoning his routine of begging to stay up for just 5 more minutes. Nolan's stuffed bear is tossed to the floor instead of tightly clutched in his arms. He's convinced that his bear protects the realm of Nolan's room. I had told him this much when he got it as a gift. In his world of cars, and more cars, he was puzzled to unwrap a funny little gray bear with huge top and bottom teeth. It quickly became his guardian, the king of the teddies. He never does anything in his room without him, but now he's tossed aside like he doesn't hold any significance at all. I say goodnight, and he tells me again that he's hungry. I tell him I'll feed him a big breakfast tomorrow. Strange, I think. If this day has shown me anything, it's that little Nolan is getting older, and getting older means changing. I darken his room and leave the hall light on with his door open like every night. I then check on the baby in his room at the end of the hall, turning the monitor on before leaving the room. It's been a day, and I'm so tired that I leave the cluttered floors and dirty dishes to be tomorrow's problem. I lay on the bed with the TV on, but muted so I can hear if the boys wake up. With all of the excitement and events of the day, I must be more tired than I realized. I woke with my face mushed against my pillow, an island of drool already formed at the corner. I get up to pee and check the time. Dan will be home in 2 hours. I get back into bed to enjoy more sleep, a warm groove already in place from my previous nap. I roll over and close my eyes. I'm just about asleep when I hear a squelching sound. I can't quite place it, but it's coming from what appears to be the monitor. I grunt and get myself back out of my comfy groove in the bed. I should check to see that the baby is okay. He's probably kicking one of his tissue papery sounding toys in his sleep. Nolan's room is on the way to the baby's, so I poke my head in to check because I just can't resist seeing his peaceful, sleeping face. He isn't in bed. The bathroom light is off and the door's open. I know he hasn't gotten up to use the bathroom. I try to swallow my annoyance when I realize he must be in the baby's room trying to play with him. The squelching sound grows louder the closer I get to his room. I approach, and sure enough, there is Nolan's little butt poking up as he stands on tiptoe bent over the crib. Such a wonderful big brother, always wanting to play. I'm about to gently scold him and send him back to bed when he turns and sees me standing there. There's something wrong with his face. It looks dark, wet. There's a tinge of copper smell to the room, and before my mind accepts it, my gut already tells me what I'm seeing. The squelching sound grows almost unbearable with every chew that Nolan takes. "Mommy, I was so hungry," Nolan says with a full mouth. I fight the urge to pass out, stifle a scream, and back away from him. "Oh my God, baby! Why? Why? He's just a baby. I don't understand. Jesus Christ, why, Nolan?" The room is swirling and my blood feels like ice. My only fear in life is losing my family, my children, my Nolan. I want to run, to vomit, to scream, and shake him until his neck pops. How could this have happened? His brother is only 5 months old. My infant son, our little boy who has just barely gotten a taste of life yet. Nolan stops for a moment and smiles at me with a giggle. I love you, Mommy. I can never resist that face. That little wet, red, smiling face. He's a bloody mess, sinew hanging from his little teeth. I don't see that, though. I see his first smile as a baby. I see the way he looks up at me when he gives me hugs. The joy on his face when he learns something new. He walks towards me, and I see my little Nolan running on the beach, trying to keep up with the seagulls. There's only one thing I can think to do. I know now that the child I brought home cannot be my son. My Nolan was somewhere else, far away. I know there's only one way I can get back to him, to be with both of my sons. I kneel down and hug him to me, stroking his hair and kissing his blood-stained cheeks. Mommy, I'm hungry. I'm still so hungry. He throws his arms around me and snuggles in. I'm ready to be with my boys. All I ever wanted was to be a mother. I close my eyes, back up a step, and pull my hair out of the way to offer my neck. Here you go, baby. Mama never wants you to go hungry. Dan will be home soon. I'm sure in time he will understand what I had to do. Dan's a very understanding person.